Right, we're back. So, let's keep going through the atomic era. There isn't that much left to do with regards to colonizing the world. Well, okay, there's still the southern portions that I've gotten started on, but regardless, we're making pretty good progress. And the cities are quite happy, as you can perhaps tell. Oh, it's done. Okay. Really? Only so little? Not worth it. Okay. Uh, right. You're supposed to wait here until the Department of Motor Vehicles is done. So anyway, I do actually have a topic to finally talk about. After, I think the previous four didn't really have much of a topic to them. National Railroad Museum. I mean, the topic is very topical and could become outdated very quickly, for all I know. The economy has crashed by the time this video comes out, so... But I have noticed something very interesting lately. Namely, there has been an influx in advertisements that are openly negative towards, and I'm going to say this bit with air quotes, AIs. To put it more precisely, the large language models. And I do feel this precision is necessary. Hello? There. Okay, so let's get these out of the way. Any interesting wonders? I'll have to build a garbage collection agency at some point, that's for sure. Let's see. Yeah, why not? The secretary. Canals, supercomputer. Well, let's get these cheap ones out of the way. There's a decent chance that I'll end up building the car hinge soonish. I'm gonna go with tree farm. But yes, I've noticed... Oh, Walk of Fame. There we go. That's even more signs from celebrities and artists. Certainly should make a lot of things easier. Now, this is a terrible idea. They have massive amounts of tower defense and fortification. That's doubling their effective strength. And the main battle tank does have plus 25% strength, but that's only enough to get to 90. So, instead, if I slowly bombard away at them, they'll be back. Well, they'll be taken down. But yes, the LLMs. There's been a very large increase in the number of ads, as far as I could tell, that portray them negatively. And as with anything, there are potential reasons for this. Avoid building the accelerator just yet. Yeah, this goes fine. Okay, with the Walk of Fame done, there's nothing there. Build these two. You know what? Yarn can build CERN. Yeah, I guess I can farm the tile. But yeah, there has definitely been an increase in the amount of negative ads. And there could be a few reasons for this. Because there's definitely, an increasingly negative perception of them, especially as companies have started using them in order to, and I should add, with very little foresight, using them to replace various employees. And of course, because of this, the people who are understandably backlashing against this often get called by, Luddites. Although, you know what, I could talk about Luddism too. It's a very interesting history behind it. Okay, let's get you some tech. But yeah, there's definitely been an increase in the amount of negative ads. And in effect, I can predict about 3 reasons for this. I would say there's probably 3 reasons for this. Okay, at the very least, I'm damaging them more than they're healing. And already there's a 50% chance of winning the fight. And I can attack directly after doing the ranged attack anyway, so. Yeah, let's max out the ranged attack ability. Now, you need to be getting down to here, this spot. And you can do so in exactly 2 turns. Neat. But there's effectively 3 reasons I can see for this. I mean, the third one kind of isn't that much of a reason, but I mean, they both have to do with the fact that AI is a bubble. It's impossible to argue otherwise. The first possibility is that they are trying to cash in on the negative perception that currently exists when it comes to AI well, LLMs, and are trying to make money that way. However, because of, you know, details, they actually don't want. They do not actually want things to change. They want the bubble to stay active because that gets them even more money out of it. Because if, you know, if your business model is based upon capitalizing upon the um, distaste, outrage, hatred, whatever you want to call it, the antipathy is probably the best way to put it, towards AI companies and their large language models that they market. Then you definitely want those companies to stay in the limelight. There we go. New city. You absolutely need the mining camp. There's no avoiding it. And there's also the fact that your positioning makes you a little bit... yeah. I'm also going to need to get you access to power.
Pop art is the inedible raised to the unspeakable.
Okay. Go. Let's melting. And lead is an amazing metal. It's common, hard when fairly hard when, you know, in its solid room temperature state, and very soft when it's close to melting, and it's also easy to melt. It's a shame it's horrendously toxic. Anyway, back to that. So the first option is, as I've said, people trying to capitalize on the antipathy towards the large language model technology. However, because of the way things are, an opposition is only a profitable position so long as your target still exists. Oh no. How do they heal? So they want the bubble to keep going. They want, well, for this specific reason, those that are following this reason want the bubble to keep going because that means that, you know, the focus is still on the LLMs, and they can make money off of. They can still make money off the antipathy. The other option are people that have managed to take advantage of the stock market because that's what a bubble generally ends up becoming. It's, well, I think at the very least, every situation of a bubble I know involves the stock market going crazy over some new thing. And now, people have begun to cash in on that bubble and want it to collapse. Or, maybe something slightly similar. Not necessarily because they've cashed in, but they want stuff to become cheap so they can buy it in bulk, which is what tends to happen when the economy collapses. Stuff becomes ludicrously cheap. Because people are selling things, because regular people are selling things off en masse, because otherwise they can't, you know, afford food or something like that. Which has serious consequences. If you can't afford food, then you'll do anything to ensure that you can start to afford it again. Because obviously, if you can't eat, you're, well, not going to be doing well fairly soon. Simply put, biological needs trump monetary issues, at least in general. Sorry about that. Department of Motor Vehicles. And a platinum smelter. National smelter, at least. Okay. As long as I can keep damaging them without them healing much, the tank can handle it. Okay. Oh, there's actually plenty of ordnances. Okay. Get yourself 2 judges. Where are the judges? There he is. No, that's a lawyer. Take legal action and drive all corporations from the city. uh, if only they did such things more often. Peaceful unit, peaceful unit. Weird. The judges and the lawyers are considered a peaceful unit. Land units. There it is. Judge. And then build a couple things. Yeah. And then I'd say, you can build another judge. Just to find the judge. Right. Your goal is to finish up the... Well, here's to mark out another tile. So I can set up a city down the line. Orchestrion Theater, well that's pricey because the maintenance increase. Because I can do the advertising agency. Actually, shouldn't I do the... Yeah, capital administration. Plus 2 free specialists, and... Where is the... Yeah. Like I said, cashing out or hoping to buy the suddenly extremely cheap property that tends to come up with a crash. Option number 3. That's both, perhaps? Because you gotta remember, even if you can link people together by some sort of common feature, you know, like what class they're from, you know. Just because the bourgeoisie have common economic interests, in general, does not mean that they'll act in the same way. In fact, oftentimes they'll start competing with each other. Because what is capitalism if not mass competition? And elevating that to a seeming art form. It's in fact what they do. Simple as that. Either way, I would say that I don't. Well, okay. Like I said, there's a decent chance that the stock market, that the global economy has crashed from the AI bubble collapsing. I don't already need to talk about how oil prices have spiked through the roof thanks to shenanigans in the Middle East. Which I'm sure that the American fascist propaganda outlet, I'm sorry, Fox News, will blame it on Obama or Biden somehow. Kind of like how in other parts of the world, all problems are caused by socialists and leftists. Well, in Europe, all problems are caused by socialists and leftists, despite the fact that quite a few countries haven't had them in power, ever. And for some others, they haven't been in power for at least 3 decades, if not more. If you hear a weed whacker in the background, there is nothing I can do about it. It simply exists. And I'm sorry. Good lord, how... The window's even closed. It's louder than the city sounds. I'm having trouble hearing the city sounds over it. Okay, so 1, 2, 3. It's really not important. These tiles are basically useless. Ice tiles are effectively useless. Permafrost is next to useless. It's just not quite as bad for walking on. At the very least, the presence of fresh water in the river does give some utility to the tiles here. See if I'm gonna make turning anything here useful. Up another pane. I will, yeah. The plan is to put the city here. So I can still take advantage of this geode. Yeah, okay, so put it on the interior portion. Put more tiles to use. Insofar as some things can be put to use. Ice is ludicrously difficult to deal with. Almost hilariously so. Okay, yeah, it must be audible by this point, the microphone. I hope it's not drowning out the music. Oh, it shouldn't be. Not for you people, for me it is somewhat. Okay, the tile is out of reach. I guess I'll find it then. Ah, I got gold from the tribal village. Neat. please be finished. I doubt it is, but... Okay, Automobile Emission Act. First bombard and then check. I'm gonna wait until it's like 99%. The last thing I want is to get incredibly unlucky and then things happen. Because of course that'll happen. I know my luck. Oh, okay, I guess I can still build the animal trainer horse here. Okay, that means I can build the chariot workshop once that's done. Oh, or... Okay, so it does require a horse, but... and then... some sort of carriage-like thing. Maybe? Alright. Let's see here. Oh boy, this is the point in time where the production is a bit annoying to calculate, isn't it? I think it's even louder now. The microphone's picking up, I think. It must be. Okay, let me get through this. Smith. Yeah, okay, couple works, iron works. There. It's not perfect, but admittedly... Yeah, the mic is definitely picking up the weed whacker outside. Okay, right. Where's CERN? There you are. It'll take 50 turns, but it's 50 turns well spent. Okay, we'll see you later, then. The distant future. Of, like, circa 1480. Calendars. I mean, admittedly, if that were all that I were planning on to say, it would not be much of a topic, but there is more. Specifically, that it's a great example of, well, okay, perhaps there is no need for that there. Alright, just mind this time. That despite what some people think, there is a lot of complexity in the world. A lot. So there do exist simple solutions, but they're not necessarily the best. And part of the trouble in dealing with the world is that it is fantastically complex. The whole point of human society is to build up to a level of complexity so that we can do anything. But necessarily, well, to protect ourselves, do really anything. But necessarily there are drawbacks to this that occur. And there's only so much we can do about that. Okay, let's go through all these religious buildings real quickly. And some groups fail to take that into consideration. Some groups capitalize on it, and I don't like those groups particularly. But there is a lot of complexity in the world. Yes, people act based upon, their own interests, their own selfish needs, but they also act on morals, what they believe to be true, what they believe, how they believe other people to act, etc. And sometimes there is a simple solution to problems. Sometimes people forget that. And sometimes there isn't one. That's also important to know too. Complexity is difficult to deal with on the best of days. There are limits to our processing power. The brain is a limited entity. Work it too much and you start having issues. But don't forget to flex it every now and then. That's also important too. That's the sound for the judge. How many cities have finished the queue now? This one I just saw the, community garden. Yeah, let's build that. 28 food. Ah, goodness. Okay, the assembly plant and then the industrial farms. I don't think anything else can match the pace of that. Not yet. Oh yeah, I built the space shuttle. Right. I can't bring you very far, but I can send you into orbit. And, well, I mean, there isn't really a spot that can take advantage of the space station. Not yet. I mean, even if I settle up here, the furthest north I can, it's too far away for any city to take advantage of the space station. My best bet is to just set it up in a spot that is relatively easy for any satellites to reach. Set you up here. There we go. It's about as high up as I can make it. And take your time. You're going to need it. Let's get your modeling agency and more food production. Still, if you want a working model of the world, you really do need to be able to account for everything. Every possibility, every chance. And the fact of the matter is that people are also incredibly complex. Their own actions are affected by the environment, but also their own ideals. Most people at least try to act on the best information they have, unless something gets in the way of that. And it's very easy for things to get in the way of it. Oh, good as incompleteness theorem. It's a very silly drawing. Okay, return to Souza and heal, and then, well, get the position with the others. And yes, as I said, people are complex, and failing to take into account the simple fact that, give it a minute, that people have complex motivations. Okay, that was weird. And failing to take that into account has issues with the model that you use. Because there are just so many influences.
The future was a chrome-trimmed, triangular window in the front of Dad's car, and it had its own knob to open it up. The future was a hamburger under a light fixture that looked like an atom. The future was going to be awesome.
And atomic. Clean nuclear reactor and nuclear powerplex. Oh, good lord. Plus 200 production in every city. Every city. Every single one of them? Oh, wow. Okay, Atom Tonk is definitely something that I should take the effort to build if I'm able to. But I can't in the city. Okay. Pick another city then. Right, first things first. Another modern infantry for the southern continent. Still haven't come up with a name for it. Oh, still hasn't built any microchips. Built a microchip factory. Okay, and then after those two buildings, aircraft settler. And then I'll be finished with that portion. There's still more to do. But that's fine. Okay. Can you do diesel punk? Doesn't look like it. I'm pretty sure that the punk cultures get pushed to the front anyway. Of the list? No, they don't. Anyway. You know what, let's just put a few of the cheaper cultures. The ones that only cost 3. Okay. I think that might be enough. Okay, so the mining camp's built. Ancient customs. Carpenter. The lumber camp. absolutely nothing else to work with here. Head to here. It'll be fine. But yeah, people have a lot of motivations and they can be very complex. And the fact of the matter is that influential people also end up having their own influences on other people. Whether that influence be through some extent of, cultural influence or hero worship or something. Okay, that town needs a tree farm. Or perhaps political influence through, governmental positions. But you have to remember that there's also, economic influence through just sheer market power. That's a big one too. And never forget, there's a lot of things that happen and a lot of influences. And that even extends to things that you wouldn't normally think about. People are influenced by their families, for example, but they're also influenced by the people they, by friends, coworkers, subordinates to a lesser extent, superiors to a greater extent because, well, especially among the more power hungry, it all goes to the head. Let the power go to the head, people. One wrong move on, disagreeing with them on the wrong thing could leave you without food. Effectively, by losing the job. Which is why powerful people tend to get surrounded by yes men. It's not necessarily because of their own volition. It's not something that they actively strove to have, a group of yes men. It's just that when it comes to large amounts of power, being a yes man is the safest way to maintain a position. Which, to people seeking out such positions, or falling into one, in some cases, generally when you're doing a job, just a regular old job, instead of some sort of, I don't know. That's what ends up happening when you're just doing a job. That you end up having to yes man in order to keep said job. Which is rarely very fun. Let's do it in this order. Okay, you need your mining camp. The mine can't be built anywhere anyway, so even on permafrost or ice. In all likelihood, the city over here is going to wait. There's land down here, but it is not particularly useful. There are tiles that I can use. And in fact, if I plop the city right here, I will be able to use all the tiles. There's fish over here. That's it for food. Beyond just basic coast. I mean, to an extent, the fish resource is just literally a representation of large quantities of fish in the area. can also put a city here. They don't have access to, well, I think that's a crater. I don't actually know. But yes, people are constantly influenced by the environment around them. But you also can't discount the ideals that a person has, that knowledge they have, what they think is the truth about how the world works around them. Because if you think everyone's going to seek out ways to take advantage of you, if you think everyone's inherently selfish, well, you're less likely to seek out help from others than if you were to believe that people are generally reasonable and will help when asked if it doesn't, hurt them or anything, or take too much, or, whatever. Generally, if you think people are helpful and willing to assist others, you're much more likely to go seeking that assistance. Well, it's not necessarily taking advantage of others. In fact, I'd say it isn't. Looking out for help when you need it is one of the ways to build a community, or at least get in touch with a community. An effective combination of all that is part and parcel to the, well, life, I guess. Right, okay, so I do want to put a city over here-ish. This is the single best spot because it's still next to a river and I can still reach quite a bit of a ways inland. So that's going to be the location of my next city. Okay, spend a few turns healing. And head for the new location. There we go. Carhenge. That gets me a free recycling center in every city, which... Well, I mean, you can tell how much my money decreased. Recycling centers on their own are actually big maintenance. Cost quite a bit of maintenance, so... I guess confirm the tile. There's really not much else to do there. But yeah, I can now build the electronic waste recycling depot. Get just a bit more production. Just snatch that little bit more. Push button automat. I definitely want to build up here. That probably means that the... No? Okay. I was expecting something else to be available, but no, it was not. Okay, that should be a decent setup for now. I did not intentionally time at so many cities to be ready to build new things. Once the car engine was constructed. This happened on its own. If it wasn't obvious by how many times I've had to stop and work on city queues. All of a sudden. Okay, that should be good for Mempah now. Yeah, the world is complicated. People especially so. Well, 50 turns is 50 turns, I guess. Excuse me for a moment. Okay, so there was a Barbary Corsair here, but I don't see where it is anymore. Ah! There we go. Problem resolved. We live in a complicated world, and sometimes that's all there is to it. Whoops. Oops. That first. Rocket fuel refinery gives 4 production. I thought it was 3, but apparently it isn't. No, city hasn't seen any enclosures, so. Let's get that biology lab out of the way, too. Okay, there's not that much left to build here. Okay, 3 production, 3, 3, 3, 3, 3. 6 turns after all. Fine. That should be good for now. Yeah, I'm probably gonna stop after Dada's research. I know it's gonna probably end up being less than an hour. Well, okay, I'll ramble enough to make it an hour. Yeah, people are complex, lots of things happen that aren't necessarily under people's control. Oh, that's the new city spot. That's up. No, please. Okay, go back to hunting. Okay. City's bistro's done. It is nice that the turns are now, that the techs are now consistently taking less than 10 turns to be researched. Anyway, Dada. Which is yet another art movement.
Art is dead. Long live Dada.
Anti-art cultural works. Yep. Anti-modernism generally. Alright, I'll finish up the turn and then... Oh, no cities. It's a bit unusual. Ooh. Okay, make electric railroad. I'm not driving a tank onto a volcano. I mean, it sounds cool and all, but it is my tank, and I'd rather it not. I'd rather not risk destroying it. Yeah. Oh. Well, it's just an owl, so. I've already dealt with the modern infantry that was up there. Although there's still big game hunters wandering around that are barbs. Oh, whoops. Okay. Yeah, I'll end the turn. Because I do want to save the communism for next session. Then I can start ranting about the Soviet Union again. Woo! I mean, I've already probably mentioned my opinions of them on the Crisis in the Kremlin, the Cold War videos. And I'm happy to reiterate them if need be. Oh, true. I'll do the city queues, and then, no matter what happens, ending the turn right from the start. In fact, I'll even start the end sequence. Why am I doing this? Yeah, actually, the Sealmaker's fine. Hypermarket. That's what it turns into. Yeah, let's just do the biology lab immediately. Yeah, so built a few wonders, dealt with a couple barbs, and set up some cities in the south. In the, well, the Antarctic region. Although this bit is actually habitable. It's less Antarctica and more like, well, Tierra del Fuego, I believe. Fuego? Tierra del Fuego? Is that how it's pronounced? Yeah, the southern bit of Chile and Argentina. Cold, but habitable. Reasonably. Or, you know, northern Canada. At least the habitable portions. Perhaps even Alaska. I mean, there's actual woodlands here. So this region is reasonable to settle. Even in the atomic era. This portion, or, in fact, the other portions, like over here, yeah, no, there's not much of a reason to go there. Other than to just take it and hold on to it, and then down here is slightly more reasonable. I mean, I'll probably still settle on the ice if I can. I'm not sure if I can even settle on ice, but there is this here. Plus an actual mammoth resource. So the mammoths have survived down there. And, oh no. Ship. Where's one of my ships? Okay, you can at least get to this one here. No. Okay. Where are my boats? Yeah, there are way too many of these Barbary Corsairs. And they're so weak, which leads me to believe that there's only one source of them, and that's Sue. It's part of the reason why I do think that I should take over the world. 'Cause at least then, that's no longer an issue. But yeah, I'm moving through the art history text after I've gone for Atom Punk. Which, well, I should probably do Diesel Punk first. Okay, so Diesel Punk requires oil in the city vicinity. Okay. So I need a city that produces oil. It does not need to be worked. It just needs to have oil there. Like, well, okay, I probably should do it in the old world. Maybe here. That off. I wasn't expecting Atom Punk. I was expecting Diesel Punk. Maybe it's cheaper? Romani, Saxon, Thracian, Polish. Diesel Punk looks different. Is that, or maybe that's just a tar pit. No, that's just a tar pit. No, that's another tar pit. Ah, another tar pit. Good lord, where's the oil? Fine. I must use desperate measures. Now let's see if I can figure out what's oil from all these circles. Oh, okay. So oil is incredibly obvious if I can actually notice it. Really? That little in the old world? Well, Carib seems to be close enough for me to be able to choose that, right? Yeah, I don't see oil punk. Okay, fine. Because I have to do it in over in here. I mean, that does work, right? I mean, it should count, right? Yeah, there's Diesel Punk. Diesel Punk provides me with a lot of buildings that produce... Okay, the aerodrome isn't really needed, but the dirigible terminal does give me a bit of production. The electronics lab gives me quite a bit of science. But I don't need that. Radioplex can give me some culture. There's the Theremin factory. Zeus computer. It's not a huge amount, but... I mean, okay, Atom Punk's ludicrous, though. It has a specific wonder associated with it. I... Maybe? Give me a second, I want to see. And there we go to the, way too long. Oh yeah, the nuclear powerplex. Clean nuclear reactor. I mean, I do need knowledge management and superconductors in order to build this ludicrous thing. But that, I mean, plus 200% production is a lot in the city, even if it costs 100 gold of maintenance. I am liking this though. Power in every city. And 200 production. And yes, it is in every city. I do need heavy water. Well, that can be gotten by this thing. It's a national wonder, so plain and simple. But yeah. I'm probably going to end up talking about communism next time. But yeah, I'll settle a city here next time too, once Honolulu's done with all the factory stuff. Because you're annoying. Yeah, what am I doing? Why am I still doing this? Oh no. Great, now I have to go through every city now. Fine. Finish this up and then call it a session. Oh, neat, your mining camp's done. It's Kanesh, okay. New-ish city. Ish is the key term here. It's conquered. So, engineering school. And then, yeah, you need a factory in order to build plenty of new buildings. Okay, right. I'll see you again next time. Until then, bye.